Gonna be fully transparent.
Michael comes across and says that he's got nothing to hide. He wants to be fully transparent. Yet this particular email, probably one of the most important pieces of evidence, if you want to use that word, or proof, or of communication between them. So just a bit of context, this particular email was written by Hannah to Harley. So Hannah initiated this particular email to Harley, and this email was dated. You can see the date stamp. It was in the first few weeks of November. So if you're going according to the timeline, this happened approximately 2 or 3 weeks, somewhere around there, after the alleged rape happened. So this was in the period that Michael refers to as the quote-unquote blackmail period.
While Harley was blackmailing her, so she couldn't even tell them what had really happened.
So I'd just like the viewer to ask themselves a simple question. Put yourself in Hannah's position. She's allegedly been raped by Harley. She's been molested. She's been choked. And then she's been blackmailed by Harley. And just look at what words she uses and the way that she uses the words. So we've got a big thank you, all in capital letters, followed by an exclamation mark. Just watch the video and really appreciate it. We'll do more cleavage in the thumbnails. So just ask yourself, put yourself in her position. Like I say, she's allegedly been raped, choked, blackmailed. Is this the type of wording and the type of tone in capital letters with exclamation mark thank you? And then really appreciating it. And then talking about putting more cleavage in her future videos. To me, this doesn't strike me as the wording that someone who's been raped and blackmailed would be using. And even more importantly and more suspicious is why Michael has intentionally left out the email when he goes through the following video of Harley's.
Go through the last video he made about Hannah at this time. So he had emails, so
yes, Michael, he did have emails, but you intentionally left out the most important email. So why did you leave out the email, is the question.
She got nothing to hide.
And this is just a couple of days after. She alleges that I preyed on her or whatever she's alleging. Why would you tag your attacker on your breast?
She also sent this Facebook message after Hannah's video. So here's Freely telling Hannah that her video was seriously unnecessary and that it wasn't 100% accurate. Like there weren't any vibes, or Hannah didn't find him attractive, and then suddenly he asks about this. Like it's a completely normal reaction to be like, what do you mean? Because there was nothing there.
Yeah, it was very uncomfortable.
So I was on the ground in Chiang Mai while this was going on, and the days around that period of time and leading up to it, they were very flirtatious around each other. Now, I was in Chiang Mai for a total of about 7 months between late August to mid-March of this year. And in that time, I hung out with them on multiple occasions for often an hour or more. I don't remember it precisely, but either Hannah was leaving or had just gotten back, and Michelle from Fruit for Jam, I think channel name is, who was also living in that apartment building, made a joke about Hannah getting a bike pump from Harley. A pump. And funny thing is, it turned out to actually be true. Anyway, so I was on the ground in Chiang Mai while this was going on, and the days around that period of time and leading up to it, they were very flirtatious around each other. And I had known from another source that told me that Harley and Freely had taken a break in their relationship. So I thought something was gonna go on between the two of them, which it did, of course. While Harley and Hannah, they were sitting across from each other on the table, and this was after they had their little interaction, and Hannah was laughing. Harley'd say something, I don't know what he's saying, and Hannah be laughing her ass out. That's not the behavior of somebody who's been sexually assaulted or is receiving unwanted advances.
In this video, I'm asking you a simple question, but it's a question that would really have far-reaching, deep implications for you if you took it seriously, if you took it to heart. What if Durianrider actually is innocent? What does that say about you? What does that say about us? What are the lessons we are going to learn from the recent history of this so-called vegan movement? Because the same movement that did this to him did it to me. Do you think it's hard for me to sympathize with the position he's been put into? Do you think I don't know what it's like to have thousands of people judging you guilty of a crime without even spending 5 minutes to give the most cursory of consideration to the evidence? I know exactly what it's like. Because, irony of ironies, when the false allegations were made against me, they were made by Durianrider himself. When I say that Durianrider is actually innocent, I don't mean he's innocent of the charges I accused him of. I took him to court for defamation because he defamed me. He damaged my life, terrible, unforgivable ways, with long-term consequences for me. It is what it is. But, there's something most of us learned way back in grade 2. 2 wrongs do not make a right. I wouldn't now try to take revenge against him by doing the same thing to him that he did to me. I would not now try to jump on the bandwagon with a set of allegations that I know to be false. All you guys have to look in the mirror. I know there's only so many thousand of you. But what do you think? How many thousand people does it take to save the world? That's what we were talking about, right? That's why you all got drawn like moths to the flame to Freely and Durianrider and even my channel for what it used to be, right? It was this promise. Save the planet. Save the animals. Save thousands of people from dying of heart attacks and cancer that could be avoided. There was this good and pure and pressing moral cause that was partly about ecology and partly about ethics and partly about health and partly about losing weight and looking great and going to the beach. That should have been a footnote to the movement and it became our headline, but whatever. I mean, it's all there. It's all good. There's all the potential for us to try to become better people ourselves, try to make the world a better place. There's so much good there. And yet you same people, you same few thousand people, instead of turning into a dynamic, influential, political movement, what did you turn into? You turned into a subgenre of YouTube drama videos. You turned into a crowd that just cheers for blood, that doesn't care about the difference between truth and fiction, the difference between justice and injustice. And yet, more than half of you think you're part of a social justice movement. All right, guys. The link to this YouTube channel, simply called Truth, is below this video. I hope you really think about it. There was a time when I had to come on camera and explain my own innocence against totally unreasonable allegations from Durianrider. And now I'm in the opposite position of asking you, look, if you can do this to me, you, the audience, and then you can turn around to do it to Durianrider, who's next? You think you're too good? You think anyone is above reproach, being tarred and condemned with this same brush? Do you think the audience is going to be any more skeptical the next time it happens? Durianrider needs to be held accountable. That's why I took him to court. He did terrible things. Okay? There are a lot of people in this audience right now who need to reflect, who need to hold themselves accountable. Nobody else will.
Dun, 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 dun.